Let us all give our country its true birth certificate. The people of our country expect no less of us. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
The Constitution, important as it is, it's a piece of paper. But it must be a piece of paper that lays the basis for real and genuine democratic transformation.
The President of South Africa is fighting for his political life. The Phala Phala scandal involving hundreds of thousands of dollars stuffed in a couch on his private game farm has triggered the most serious constitutional crisis of his presidency. Following the landmark Constitutional Court ruling in May 2026, Parliament has officially formed an impeachment committee, and what it's its job is to decide if Cyril Ramaphosa should be removed from office. But Ramaphosa isn't going down without a fight. He's launched an aggressive legal counter-offense to shut down the committee before it even begins. Today we are breaking down the legal masterclass playing out in real time. We'll look at the specific constitutional loopholes Ramaphosa is exploiting, why his strategy is brilliant, and how it could completely backfire.
The president has not. So as the ANC, you support the interdict by the president?
No, we don't support. The Constitutional Court says, Section 139, the president is within his right to take the matter on review.
No, but I'm asking you now, as
the ANC have outlined that it has accepted the president's desire, wish, decision to challenge the report in the review is absolutely within his right. And we have agreed to that.
Okay.
And like all citizens and law-abiding citizens who understand the law have agreed with that. Nobody have said no. The opportunistic elements are the ones who say that leave everything else and therefore accept you are guilty as charged.
To understand the president's strategy, you have to understand what he's up against. In May 2026, the Constitutional Court ruled that Parliament acted unconstitutional when it tried to protect Ramaphosa by shutting down the Section 89 inquiry back in 2022. The court essentially forced Parliament to do its job. The Speaker, Thoko Didfiza, has now established a 31-member impeachment committee chaired by Rise Mzansi Makashule Gana. The committee's terms of reference are strict. Their mandate isn't it to find the president criminally guilty. The job is to establish two things. Are the charges true, and do they meet the threshold of a serious violation of the law, or serious misconduct? They have the powers to summon witnesses, subpoena documents, and appoint independent legal evidence leaders. This is a massive threat to the presidency, which is why Ramaphosa is trying to interdict it in the Western Cape High Court.
But, you know, this process has to be seen to be unimpeachable in and of itself. And you, again, just reassure the South African public that you are discharging your duties as fairly, transparently as you possibly can and as your office demands.
I'm sure all of you here as journalists and also South African citizens, you know very well that the Speaker, after the judgment was delivered, has actually complied with that judgment. And I don't think, therefore, there is anything that should make anybody to worry about Parliament's responsibility in discharging its role. And you would appreciate that actually the court case was about Parliament and how Parliament did not follow its processes in accordance with the rules. That was the case. And I think it's important that all of us as South Africans appreciate what the matters at court were about. And that's why the court, in examining the conduct of Parliament, one, it felt that Parliament, in terms of its Rule 129I, was unconstitutional. So it set aside. It read into the rule, into the judgment, how this rule in its amendment must look like. Secondly, the Constitutional Court indicated that in the manner consistent with parliamentary rules, Parliament should not have said that panel report directly to the House, but rather it should have sent it to the Impeachment Committee, and therefore ordered that Parliament must actually undertake that process, which we are doing.
Cyril Ramaphosa was one of the chief architects of the South African Constitution. He knows exactly how high the bar is for impeachment. Section 89 states a president can only be removed for a serious violation of the Constitution or the law or serious misconduct. Yeah, but here's the legal loophole that he is leveraging to block the committee. Number one is the prima facie trap. The original independent panel led by former Chief Justice Sandile Ngcobo found that Ramaphosa had a prima facie or preliminary case to answer. Ramaphosa's lawyers are arguing that the parliament rules require evidence of intentional bad faith to prove serious misconduct. He's arguing that the preliminary finding is simply not enough to trigger an impeachment inquiry. Then number two, we are looking at the evidentiary loophole. Ramaphosa is arguing that the independent panel relied heavily on hearsay, specifically a dossier from the former spy boss Arthur Fraser, an unverified Namibian police report. By holding a parliamentary oversight process to the strict evidentiary standard of a criminal court, he hopes to collapse the foundation of the inquiry so the committee has nothing legally binding to investigate.
Okay.
Who said the ANC is going to defend the president? And therefore, the ANC will not hold the president of
will
the
you defend it in Gandla?
Sorry?
You defended in Gandla?
Of course, we admitted, and we were wrong. And we took
So what's different between Phala Phala and Nkandla?
We took responsibility. Since in Nkandla we have learned. And we said to our people, they gave us 57%. We veered off. We protected things that we're not supposed to protect.
Okay.
And at the same time, we ask you to give us a chance to mend. We're on the mend, we're on renewal.
Okay.
It's a precise legal strategy, but has massive blind spots. Firstly, we have what we call the separation of powers. By asking a high court to interdict parliament from doing its job, Ramaphosa is stepping on a dangerous constitutional ground. The Constitutional Court just ordered Parliament to hold the executive accountable. Lower courts are usually highly reluctant to stop the legislature from fulfilling its oversight duties. Secondly, if his interdict fails, he has just guaranteed that the new impeachment committee will dig deeper than ever before. Unlike the original report, this new committee has subpoenaed power. Every witness inconsistently, and every missing document will become public political weapon, especially with aggressive opposition members of the committee. Finally, there's the political cost. Section 89 is a political mechanism, not a legal one. If Ramaphosa shuts down on a technicality regarding hearsay evidence, it looks like an invasion of accountability, directly violating the spirit of Section 92 of the Constitution, which demands transparency from the executive. And if you guys can remember the interview of the Speaker of Parliament at the time when this Phala Phala thing came out, she said one of the very important things regarding this issue of the Phala Phala. She said that it looked like they were running away from something as the ANC. And if they knew better, they would have constituted the committee at that time because the ANC had the majority. So it seems like right now, Ramaphosa is trying to run again by using the courts. It is his right in the court that he can do this. But we must not forget that even the people that he was drafting this constitution with, they made it clear that the constitution is just a piece of paper. Which then leaves me with a question as a viewer that I'm tempted to ask you. Who is this constitution for? If the very people that they've drafted this constitution, they don't want to adhere to the very constitution, they find things that they're going to use in the very constitution to run away from accountability. Whom is this constitution being drafted for, and who should comply with that very constitution if the very president that has to follow the constitution and the ruling of the constitutional court is running away from accountability by hiding behind the courts and the judiciary?
I listened to Balega, the former speaker, former deputy president, yesterday on TV. And she said, when she was asked about this, she says, look, the ANC should have allowed the process. And for all you care to know, in spite of the majority, despite the majority, the outcome would have been probably an outcome that favors the commander-in-chief, the president. because that process was meant for him to ventilate, to take people through everything which happened. It was not a process which was meant to put him on trial, but a process which was meant to say, okay, please explain to this committee, how did it happen that we ended up with this situation? And I'm sure he would have expressed himself. My fear now is that there's no clear thinking. I think there's a lot of, I'm listening to comments, there's a lot of panic. And the panic will not take us anywhere. If anything, it's likely to reverse the gains we have made as an organization. And I'm saying we could have allowed that process to go through and put people we want in the committee like we do in all other committees, and show to everybody that we had nothing to fear, that we are a democratic country, we have a constitution, we are not constitutional rules, that Parliament has its own rules in line with the Constitution of the Republic.
Thoko Didfiza, obviously, as well as the chairperson of this particular committee, did express that they're not going to support the president, mainly because the Constitutional Court said that the committee has to continue with its work. And let us see how they will run around this issue of the separation of powers, which constitute of the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. And that is just the check and balances game. It's not the issue of this one must dictate to the one what to do. Has the Constitutional Court said that the Parliament should go back and relook? Did it just say that the Parliament did wrong, therefore Ramaphosa must be impeached? It still gave back the power to Parliament to actually still redo this process and do the right thing. So I wonder how our courts are going to bypass the separation of powers.
Institution that can stop this committee from doing its work is a court of law. Other than that, there's no one that can stop the committee from doing its work. So that's the only.
With the ATM and EFF challenging this particular interdict, we'll see how it unfolds and whether some of the main arguments that are going to be made with regards to this interdict. But it looks like Parliament as well as the Speaker are still going to continue with this process. And I'm so happy that Thoko Didfiza is not backing down, because ANC has a trend of trying to protect Ramaphosa at all costs. And here actually challenging this interdict and saying the committee will continue with its work no matter what. It is her trying to make sure that the same mistake that they did years ago does not get to be done again. Because the next time Ramaphosa comes before South Africans, if they continue with this, ANC will only have one seat. Because already on November, we are going to vote them out. And come 2029, I'm assuming that the votes are going to be lower than they've ever been before for the ANC. So he's literally opening his own grave. But we'll see how everything runs out or it plays out. Cyril Ramaphosa knows the Constitution inside and out. He's using its strict definition to build a fortress around his presidency. But in doing so, he's testing the very limit of the South African democracy. Will the courts allow a technicality to override Parliament's oversight, or will the Phala Phala committee finally force the president to answer under oath? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think president is legally justified, or is this a constitutional cover-up? Like, subscribe. I'll see you on my next deep dive. Bye.